and you're inside a bag. That's pretty cool. We're gonna go for a run. It's gonna be kind of getting cold and miserable. I'm just getting my setting set up. All messages. All right, let's get moving. But welcome to Chicago. It used to be built for this kind of weather. It's gonna be kind of foggy and weird, but that's the best I can give you. All right, let's get to work. Yeah, I wish I could just do this without you being in a bag. But unfortunately, my phone screen broke in Japan and I had to get it replaced with aftermarket. And it doesn't guarantee the waterproofosity of my phone. Very technical term. Let's keep going. Let's keep progressing. Tra-la-la-la-la. Yeah. One of my fun insights, I found out that I lost like 40 pounds. Surprise! Still kind of adjusting to that. It's weird. I didn't realize it was happening. 1 second. I gotta turn auto rotate off. There we go. Yeah, didn't realize it was happening. Part of it is I just locked in a routine of integrating more motion and activity into my day, doing strength work and conditioning, eating a little bit less like a fool, and well, who would have guessed it? You can actually oh, man. Well, it is beautiful out. Got some snow in my hair. Now, running in snow is super dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Particularly, as one would guess, on the turns or any slight change of direction. Now this is fresh, slushy, slidey snow, so it's likely that over the course of today's recovery run, we will probably fall multiple times. But it is what it is. Shilg and I, it can't be helped. Oh, tracks! Now in the future, the aspiration is that I could do this first person, pop a GoPro on my head, interact with chat, have a more expensive wireless plan with a wireless router connected to the network, and then manage all the chat on school. But for now, this is the best we can do, friends. Nice handheld run in Chicago in the cold. Seeing where we can go. Now, there's these slopes. They're a little treacherous. One of the big things I do when I run in the snow, I reduce my, what's the word for it? I reduce my stride length. So in order to make sure I don't slip on the ice, I keep the distance between my feet closer, keep my core engaged, tuck my tailbone, take smaller steps, and lean forward slightly. So if I fall, it's better to fall on your face than your back, you know. Back's a bad day. So whenever I'm taking a corner, I typically lean forward into the turn. So worst case, my foot slides out from under me and I can catch myself with one hand. Phone goes flying into the lake. Sure, it's a good time. But today, it's our lovely recovery run. We go light and easy. Oh, it's cold. I'm an Iceman, but I've grown weak since living in Tokyo for 3 years. And it's gorgeous. But friends, anyone who catches this live asynchronously on school, welcome to our community. Happy to have you here.
Total distance 1 mile. Total time 16 minutes and 49 seconds. Split pace 16 minutes 49 seconds per mile.
Yeah, we're running faster than that. I paused to figure out all the live stream. But friends on school, sure the audio sucks, sure the visuals suck, but hopefully the personality is what we're all here for. And I just want to thank you. We're up to 37 members in our community, in our free community on school, the Big Brain Club. And I know things aren't perfect. I don't know how to get everyone together on one call when we have members in Ukraine, California, New Jersey, Florida, Japan, Chicago. Like, trying to find ways to asynchronously link up. And, not used to this. Should be wearing a hat. But I appreciate the grace as we work out the kinks. But hopefully, we aspire to make school great. Help you all secure your next best opportunity as engineers, global leaders, and entrepreneurs. And I'm a very busy guy. I live a deeply integrated life across global leadership, raising kids, content creation, fitness, and now community building on school. So the best way for me to connect with all of you is when I'm out on the trail running. And I'm excited to do this once or twice a week to the best of my ability, even if it's not perfect. I have a technical roadmap of how to make this way more immersive, way more fun. Yeah, geeked out, teched out. Should be a good time. But for now, this is what you get. Diligent, incremental progress, which means sometimes you go for a run in the snow without a hat, talking to a phone, filled with a wonderful community on YouTube and school that are trapped inside a quart-sized Ziploc bag. Because sometimes that's the best we can do. But it is better to do something diligent and small, incremental and small, and walk it towards something better than to be so preoccupied with perfection that we do nothing. So this is me taking steps towards better as you do the same in your life. You're looking for a shortcut or a cheat code. Like, sure, there's certain ways, but I think one of the first cheat codes in life is just recognize that everything's a process. Sometimes you do have to just grind and get better, little by little, as you figure it out. Everything's not clean and polished. It's messy. I mean, the best example I have is like when you are learning physics. There's all my physics people. It's so cold. But when you're learning physics, the biggest thing is like everything is on a frictionless plane. It's perfect. It's ideal. All the mass of every object is centered within every object. Like which I mean that's still technically true, but like, every object is a circle or a box sliding on a frictionless plane. And then you take it into the real world and everything is messy. Like, I remember working on robotic surgical devices and I was adjacent to a team trying to use pulleys. They had all these really amazing titanium cables with different coatings. It's so wet with different coatings. And these cables would slide along a network of pulleys. And these are like micro pulleys, micro cables to control really fine wristed surgical devices. You know, something the size of a penny. If you're from a US context, think a small coin. And what was great, we're almost done with the run portion, friends. What was great about it is like, you know, you start off with all the ideal equations. All of the pulleys, you know, you have an input force, take it around a certain pulley, add enough pulley, you can get a mechanical advantage based on how much length you throw. On one side it throws a different length, and you could have like, you know, different forces. And, you know, you could use pulleys to lift really heavy crap with smaller forces, but longer distance that you pull. Does that make sense? I'm running straight into whatever the heck this is. Chicago. Woo. It's gonna be a good one. This is the first cold run. It's only gonna get better. But, alright, as I'm sweating and sniffling. But when they're designing these robotic tools, right, you start with all the initial calculations. You know, what diameter does each pulley need to be? How many do you have in like series or perpendicular to one another? How much tension do you need to pull at an input to provide a given force at an output? So you do all your math, then you manufacture everything, you put it together, you put it on your robotic test stand, and who would have thought it doesn't work? Oh, work! No, we can make it. We're just trying to get to the bench. Get to the bench! Is this fun? I hope it's fun for you. The snow is now cutting my eyes. I opened the door and looked outside and was like, no, I am not doing this. And here we are. Thanks, Chicago. Whew. So we got clear bench. We get a little bit rest, recovery. Oh, brutal. Brutal, friends. Next are, luckily the back half as we just walk. Whew, let's breathe, let's relax a little bit. Terrible. Someday I'll have the GoPro working, then I don't need it in a bag. It looks a little better. So, our ears, they're cold, but what we do in this section, and then we'll get to the rest of the story. Breathe. Again, breathe. Running for me has always been a bit kind of a spiritual process, and for anyone in our community, I always work to make it inclusive to people across all faith contexts, spiritualities, or lack thereof. But on Wednesdays, in particular, even though it's Thursday, my rhythm got a little screwed up. Wednesdays, I normally do my light recovery run, and I find somewhere quiet, in this case this lovely field, and I sit and I contemplate. When I first started running, I could only go a mile, and I'd really only be able to go half a mile because I had terrible spinal issues. I was getting epidurals every other month, which is a shot in my back for pain. I was waking up every 2 hours throughout the night. I'd roll out of bed in agony, put on my shoes, and run, which was damaging. But I'd go out and run, wrestle with God about why my present suffering existed. Then I'd sit on a bench, pray, figure things out, and then make my way back home. And it always gave me a sense of renewed purpose. There's something cathartic about struggling, suffering with one thing so that you could take that resilience into a different context, which is what I keep talking about in my daily one-on-ones. Because right now I'm in a season of resilience. You know, in a later season we could talk about robotics or all the fun nerd stuff, but top of mind right now is just how do you navigate difficult crap? And for me, getting out, running in the snow, which is cutting across my face and hurting my ear, it helps me find the confidence to apply for jobs, secure an opportunity, trust that I can get out of debt, build wealth, and care for not only my family, but my extended family, and the people I care about. And that's maybe what success looks like. You know, my father, he's part of a Marco Polo group we're curating, and he was asking, you know, is success about money, or like what are we all striving for? And I think for me, it's success looks like leveraging my unique gifts, talents, and passions in a way that only I can in order to care for and steward the lives of those around me. And the lives of those around me are my kids, my wife. Right now I have a lot of empathy and care for my in-laws, particularly my elderly grandparents' in-laws. You know, and I just saw them, like their fridge went out, they had to drop $1,400 on it, their fixed income. One of them lost their pension when United went bankrupt. So it's like one of these things where I see how strapped for cash they are, and yet they're still providing housing for us till we get our own place in a couple weeks. And I'm like, man, if I can get out of my financial mess, wouldn't it be great to not only just like buy the fridge, but like take them out and give them experiences? They only have so many years left. So success is starting to look like build a business that provides value to people, and they can reciprocate that value financially so I can provide for others. But someone else is out here in the cold walking, so let's continue our walk and talk. That was our time of contemplation. Sometimes it's prayer, sometimes it's quiet, but honestly, this snow is ripping up my ears, so we gotta keep going. Ah! Okay, let's just run. Let's just run. Oh, no! It's getting worse. Okay. All the resilience. This first live with my school community that nobody showed up to because I posted it 8 minutes before it happened. This is gonna be the talk of legend. This is how it started. Everyone's gonna keep reposting this live for years. You gotta go back and watch this idiot run in the snow. Run back. He's out here fighting those demons. I'm only gonna be able to hear out of one ear today. Ah! Alright, we're moving. We're warm. So I think we can walk. Maybe. Because the goal is actually recovery. Like, oh, nice. I forgot how windy Chicago is. And forgot snow. Tokyo has snow, but you gotta like get up to Hokkaido. My hair is frozen. What the heck? This is wild. I need a hat. But it's cool when you're out here and there's only, I don't know if you can see it, but there's only like one set of footprints. That's why I love snow running, especially if I can get out while it's dark and dangerous, is because you could go out and be like, all right, there's one person who also was dumb enough or stubborn enough to get out here and walk the trail. You know, folks who could just get it. I love it. There's something about grit, I don't know, that I could take it with me, do the hard things. Like, one of the things I'm learning with school, oh shoot, what's Hormozy talk about? Hormozy's one of like the big names of the platform. There's a lot of members in our community that have never been on school before. They came over from Warm Network and LinkedIn and they're like, what is this? Is this helpful? Should I even be opening this application? What are you building, Joe? I'm here to support you as a friend, but I don't know. But like Hormozi talks about it's like the entrepreneurial cycle. And it's this idea of like any venture, and I actually have a fitting example of it. Any venture starts with this uninformed optimism of like the example he uses in one of his talks is like real estate. Like, oh man, people are killing it buying and selling homes. I think I gotta get into real estate. So you start watching YouTube videos, you're gonna get certified, like you're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start flipping houses, even though you've never picked up a hammer, right? And then the second stage is informed pessimism, which I love. It's like, oh man, people aren't just coming here to throw, they're not just coming to my door throwing money at me. Like, this is hard. There's a process, there's things I don't know, and people are better at this than me. That's the hard part, man. And what happens is when it gets hard, what he says, is a lot of people then withdraw and they jump to another venture, like, oh, crypto, oh, drop shipping. And it's really the people that stay in that make it. And what he discusses is like the third stage though. If you keep showing up, and for me in my mindset, like if you keep making diligent, incremental improvement, showing up for yourself, trusting the process, like working hard, consistently, and getting better, and recognizing you're not the best at it, that others are better. So glean and work. Like if you have that mindset, eventually something will start to click. And for me, I think the click happens internally before there's any external fruit. But it's really this idea. The plows are out, they're starting. It's this idea that like you can actually do it. Like this might actually work if I keep pushing, if I'm consistent, if I make adjustments. I think I could build something in this space. And it's like a weird, for me, almost psychotic confidence of like, I can't put it down. I am fixated on it of like, I think I can make
Total distance 2 miles. Total time 33 minutes and 53 seconds. Split pace 17 minutes 4 seconds per mile.
Provide that kind of successful life that my father's talking about. And he's a man who diligently worked his way up from the bottom in the ink industry. He's like an engineer by trade, running a whole manufacturing plant. And then in order to build the life he desired on his own land, like he's built a whole frickin' house and pivoted into sales of ink and all kinds of wild stuff. Great guy. Learned a lot from him. Love you, Dad. And that third stage, where I would call it like bespoke confidence without the fruit comes, like that stage is like informed optimism of like, I think I know how this works. Like when I was about to hit monetization on YouTube, I was like, holy crap, I've made 1,700 short form pieces of content and now I get it. Like 1,700 for 4 years. And then something connected just right. I caught the algorithm and now I make a couple pennies per video. But for me, that was an indication of like, I am a YouTuber. Like that was a validation. And that all I can do is grow. If I keep making more content, if I get better at the craft, if I connect my affiliate links, if I eventually funnel people to digital products like a community on school or high ticket consulting down the road, if I get a team, like it will only get better and only grow and only work. But I have to do the hard stuff now. And I think when I came into school as a platform, I figured someone would like connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd send them a little DM. They'd be like, oh, that sounds cool. And then they'd join, throw money at it. Because initially we started with just like a paid community. I was like, I have to fully reset. Like I have to give tons of value in a free community, help people grow, help them find their next best opportunity, and then push them from there. And then the last stage is like success. Like you win. Like if you stay in it. So that's kind of where we're at in this whole journey. We're in the messy middle. I got 37 people in our community and school. I don't have all my tech and stuff figured out on how to live stream effectively in Chicago. I'm in the middle of a transition. We're trying to do our 15th move in 3 years as a family. Trying to land a job, which is also exciting and hard. And I'm trying to do it without applying to a ton of jobs. I really have a different approach. Rather than shotgun spraying across every job, because a lot of these postings are like oversaturated, I'm trying to backdoor the process and make a really high quality video portfolio and get that in the right people's hands, so I'm more than a resume and a stack. That's the whole goal for me, is to be more than a resume and a stack, but for people to understand the nuance of my story, the skills and capabilities I have, and where I could provide value, and hopefully create enough demand in a couple organizations that I can create a competing offer scenario in the July time. That would suck. The January time frame, so that I can get medical for my 4 kids, but also have negotiation strength with salary, like base comp and signing bonus. So the target for me, we'll see where we land, is an associate director to director level role in R&D or communications, which is so funny trying to shift or pivot into communications. Marketing's also on the list. Something with global leadership, targeting 220K with a 20 to 30% signing bonus. And that would zero out a lot of the financial liabilities we have associated with our 14 relocations across Japan and all that, and get us set up to actually afford rents in Chicago, which is crazy. Those numbers are like outrageous even to me. But then when I look at my resume and what I've done and the roles I'm targeting, and I try to see myself fair value in my industry, I'm like, that should be the target. And then, you know, from there, like if it ends up being a senior manager role as a foot in the door at an organization at a lower comp or whatever, sure, get a job, get benefits, and then get traction within an organization, outperform everyone, and then ladder up. But the laddering up, you have a lot more leverage actually when you're communicating your value externally to a different company than within. I spent 10 years working within J&J, and I was severely under leveraged, underpaid, and under positioned for what I'm capable of. Even though I networked very well and had incredible opportunities and experiences. Meanwhile, my friend Enzo lived out in Houston. He jumped every year and a half between different oil tech folks. I mean, if you're in oil, you're already fine. And he's a genius, which helps. I'm not a genius. I'm very good with words as an engineer. It's my competitive edge. But he laddered up so fast, bouncing around. But I was like, don't you want to give your family stability? Because then they shot off to Cincinnati when he worked with me in robotics. Ended out in Seattle. His end game's Italy. He's part of this community. I got to get him to start engaging. But anyway, friends, this is where the sidewalk ends for today's live. Things chilled out a little bit. Snow's a little bit less crazy. My hair is completely frozen to my head. So I'm going to go do a shower and I got to get home. But keep changing the world. I'll see you on the next one.